Hello everyone, and welcome to how to create a multi-list box in Microsoft Access. I am your host, and if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel and like and sharing the content. So this video is for kind of the Microsoft Access users that have been playing around in the database for a little while and they want to enhance some of their query and reporting capabilities. So let me share my screen. So you can see here, I have 3 tables: city, employee, and selected city. When I open up the city table, it just has a list of US cities. The employee table has a list of employee names and what city they're located in. And this table called selected city is just an empty table with a field called city. And we're going to use this later in the demo. So the first thing I need to do if I'm going to create a multi-list box is I need to create a form. So I'm going to go to Create, Form Design, change the back color, so we need to create a list box, which is right here, list box. Change the label, make it big enough so you can see it. Select the city. Let's change the font size of the text box. All right, so right now we just have an empty list box. We go to form view, there's nothing inside it, right? Let's go back to design view. So let's populate this list box with the cities that's in this table here. So to do that, I'm going to select the list box and go to the property sheet, go to the data tab. Under row source, I'm going to select the TBL_city table, and that should populate the list box. You see it does. Now you notice, when we go back to form view, you notice we can only select one city at a time. So we need to create a multi-list box. So to do that, we'll go back to design view. I still have the list box selected. Under the other tab, you see where it says multi-select, none. Let's change that to extended. Zoom in so you can see. So we changed the multi-select to extended. So now if we go to form view, we can select more than one city by pressing and holding the control key. Okay? So that's step one. Step two is we need to get the cities from the multi-listbox. So what we need to do now is, if I select New York and St. Louis, I want to be able to show which items I selected. So let's go back to design view. So I selected the list box, but I'm going to create a button underneath the list box. I'll call it Get, I'll just say Run. Make the font a little bigger. So I'm gonna rename this button and call it Run Button. I'm gonna go to the event tab and go to the on-click event and click the three dots. It brings up this box here, tell me to choose which builder. I'm going to select the code builder and hit OK. And this will take us into the VBA editor. So what we need to do is we need to get the list of cities that are selected from the list box. I have some code that I've already created. This code here will allow us to select the items in our list box. It's one thing I need to add. Go back to close this. I need to rename this list box, and we're going to call it City List Box. So let's go back to the code. So all what we're doing is we're selecting the form, and then we're selecting the object on the form, which is the City List Box, and then we're looping through each item in our list box. Now I need to rename the form. So when we do that, save this, call it FRM_city. So we're ready to test to see if we can print out. It's going to do a debug.print. It's going to print out the names of the cities that we select in our list box. So let's test it. Go back to form view. We'll select New York and Baltimore and press the run button. We go back to the design view, the on-click event. What do we see here at the bottom? New York and Baltimore shows up. So it captured the items that we selected in our list box. Any questions so far? Okay, so the next step that we're going to do is we need to add the cities that we selected in the list box into the selected city table. So what we want to do is we want to take these cities, let's say New York and Baltimore, and we want to programmatically add them in this table here called TBL underscore selected underscore city. So they're going to show up right here. Okay, to do that, I have some code, again, that I've already created. Just go back to VBA. So let me explain what this is doing here. So all I did was I added some code that will loop through the items in the city, the selected city table. So I created what's called a record set, and all that is just a set of records. So you can call this, I call this DBS country for the current database. This is RST city for the record set. And I'm setting the TBL selected city as our basically a source that we're going to use to add the cities in this table. So once you press the button, it's going to add the selected cities in this table, and then you're going to get a message box saying that we're done. So let's test it. Save form. So I'm going to select New York and Oakland. Press run. Oh, what did we get here? See if I comment out this, will that go away? Nope. You see what I did wrong here? So let me start at the beginning. See if that does the trick. So I still have New York and Oakland selected. And it added New York and Oakland to our TBL underscore selected city. Let me add that message box in our code. Save it. So we still have those two cities in our table. So if we keep adding or selecting cities and pressing this run button, guess what's going to happen? It's just going to keep building this list, right? So what we need to do now is we need to clear this list before we run our procedure. So to do that, I'm going to create a query. Going to select the TBL underscore city, drag the field here at the bottom, and I'm going to create a delete query. It's just going to simply delete the items that's in this table. I'm going to save it, call it QRY underscore delete. Selected cities. So what we need to do now, let's go back to the design view, is we need to run that query before we add additional cities. So I'm back in the VBA editor, and I'm going to add, or I'm going to run that query right here. So I'm going to do a do command, open query, the name of the query is query delete selected cities, right? And then once we run that, I'm going to close the query. So do command, close, query, any comment there? All right, so this is going to clear the old selected cities. And then here we're going to add the new cities that we select. All right, so let's test it. Save. We still have those cities. So I'm going to select Boston and Baltimore. Hit run. But I need to turn off the warnings. Turn it back on here. Let's clear this. So let's test it again. Select New York and Dallas. Hit run. We should see just New York and Dallas, and we do. Now if we choose St. Louis and Nashville, we should see St. Louis and Nashville only, and we do. You see how we set that up? Are there any questions so far? Okay, so the next step we need to do is what we want to do is once we have these items selected, we want to run a query that queries the employee table for employees that work in St. Louis and Nashville, for example. So we're going to create what's called a subquery. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Create tab and go to Query Design. I'm going to select the TBL employee. That's what we're going to query off of. Select both of these fields. In the city field, in the criteria, we're going to point to the cities that are selected or the cities that are added in the table called TBL underscore selected city, right? So we're using a subquery to achieve this. So I'm gonna call this query employee, all right? So let's add that query to our procedure. Go back to the design view. We already have the button selected. Go to VBA. I'm just going to run that query. Use part of this code we already wrote. All right. Actually, you can put it bottom here. Let's test it. So this time I'm gonna select Baltimore and Boston. Press run. It says done. And it creates a query with our Boston and Baltimore employees. See that? Let's try it again. Select Kansas City and Nashville. And we have our Nashville and Kansas City employees. Wasn't hard, was it? Are there any questions? All right, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a report using our subquery. So a subquery is called query underscore employee. So let's go to the Create tab, go to Report Wizard. So we got the query underscore employee, select all the fields. We can do ascending we want. Landscape, let's call it employees with employees by selected city. So right now it shows a report with our cities and employees. Remember last time we selected Kansas City and Nashville? So we get a report based off of that. So it's just one report. And if I selected more than one city, let's see, 3 different cities, Baltimore, Oakland, and Dallas, it runs the report, right? Or it runs the query, and then we can run the report, right? Dallas, Oakland, and Baltimore. Now, all we need to do is create a button that we can run a report from a form. Let's go back to design view. Go to create, or it's under form design button. Let's call this run report. All we need to do is go to the event tab again, on click, code builder. I'm going to do a do command. Open report. What's the name of the report? Employees by selected city. And we want a preview. So now we have everything set up. So let's select Oakland and St. Louis. Run the report. We need to clear our list. You can actually take all of this if we need all of it. Let's see. So instead of running the query here, we can run the query. Yeah, we'll keep that. And the last step, we're going to run the report. See if this works. So New York, Kansas City, run the report. We have our employees that work in New York and Kansas City. We select Baltimore and Boston. We get our Baltimore and Boston employees. As you can see in this lesson, what we did was we created a temporary table that will hold our selected cities from the Multi Listbox. And then we ran our query using a subquery. And then we ran the report through the form. If you like the content of this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next video.